Hello, welcome. My name's Kathleen. I'm one of the spirit operators here. Today we're going to look at how to meditate successfully. Um, there are people who think if they can't sit and meditate perfectly the very first time that they have failed, but that's not correct. So we're going to take a look. So when you're first starting out meditating, you're learning to train your mind. You're learning to discipline your mind and improve your concentration. Um, so you sit in meditation. If you're just starting, most likely you're doing a breathing meditation because it's giving you an object to focus your attention on. Now, if you're like me and you sit and meditate and you're focusing on your breath, and your mind starts to wander and you're like shopping at the mall or writing out your grocery list or thinking about other things. And then you realize, oh, I'm supposed to be meditating, right? And so then you bring your focus back to your breath. That's success. Seriously. Because most people wander around just following their minds wherever they go, whatever they lead, whatever they're thinking of. And they don't discipline their mind to focus. Okay. So when you think, oh, I'm supposed to be meditating, and you bring your focus back onto your breath, then you're successful. That's the first sign of success when you're meditating is, oh, right, okay, and then you refocus your mind. And, you'll focus for a while, and then, your mind will wander off again here and there and everywhere, and then you go, oh, wait, I'm still meditating, and you bring your mind back to the object of your meditation. If you're starting, that'll be your breath. And again, success. So the more times that you bring yourself back, that you realize, oh, my mind has wandered, I need to return. So the more times you bring yourself back, focus on your object, that's how successful you're getting, okay? Like the very first time you meditate, if you remember like once or twice, that's awesome. And then the more you get into meditation, the longer you will be able to focus on your object without your mind wandering. Okay, so that'll be a further advancement towards being successful. But at first, seriously, all you're worrying about is, oh crap, I'm supposed to be meditating, and you return your focus, okay, onto the object. And then, like I said, the length of time that you can focus and keep focus without your mind wandering will expand and grow the more you do it. Okay? So the very first time you sit down and meditate and your mind's all over the place and you're like, oh, I'm a total failure. No, just keep trying because this is, it's an exercise, it's practice. Okay? You need to continue to do this in order to improve your focus, improve your concentration. Okay. So the reason that we meditate is to make spiritual progress. Nowadays, there seems to be a lot of reasons people meditate, but the whole point of meditation is to develop your mind, train your mind, and to make spiritual progress. So the best way of achieving that is to make sure that you do a motivation before you meditate, do the meditation itself where you're focusing on an object, and then you dedicate when you're done the meditation. Okay? So the motivation and the dedication at the end are super important if you want to make spiritual progress. If you leave those two things out, you're going to have a really hard time to improve, okay, your spiritual journey. All right? So the motivation, that's your intention. Why are you sitting down to meditate? And that's what you want to say to yourself. You can do it out loud if you're by yourself, but you want to say that to yourself before you begin the meditation. And later on, I will be doing fully guided meditation videos. And so I will do dedication and motivation on every meditation that I'll be doing, okay? So that you can get used to it. So to motivate yourself, it's your reason for sitting and meditating. And so there can be a number of reasons. However, the very most important thing about your motivation is that you're meditating to benefit others. Now, I've said this before in other videos that we are in what is called degenerate times. So things aren't quite so hunky-dory. And because of this, you may include yourself in the motivation. However, it can't be solely for yourself. If you meditate because you want to be awesome for you, it won't work. You won't make spiritual progress. Your meditation might be okay, but you're hindering your spiritual progress. You want to meditate to benefit others. So if you know people that are ill, and if you suffer from an illness, like for instance, I myself suffer from fibromyalgia. So if I was to sit and meditate to dedicate a motivation and dedication to help everyone with fibromyalgia, then that includes me, and that's okay. But I'm not doing it solely for myself. I'm not sitting because I want to be better. I want to be healthy. I'm doing this all for me. That totally ruins the reason for meditating if you're doing it to make spiritual progress, which is what logically you should be doing. Okay. I hope I'm making sense. And so your motivation to benefit others, it gives you the best mindset to sit and do the meditation. You're going to be helping other people by doing this, not just yourself, okay? And that helps you to focus better on your meditation. Okay, so then you do the meditation, and when you've advanced, so when you've gone beyond the beginner meditations, you'll be focusing on a virtuous object, and you're making your mind familiar with that object, and that's what you need to be doing for the meditation itself. Now, there is a mistaken meditation out there that says to empty your mind of all thoughts completely so that your mind is blank. Please don't do that. It's a mistaken teaching. I know it's fairly old, but it's not correct, okay? Doing that, emptying your mind of all thought, that is the effect you'll have in the future. So when we meditate and we're focusing on virtue, we're making our mind familiar with virtue, and that's going to benefit us and others in the future, okay? If you're blanking your mind out, you're going to have a lot of problems trying to think in the future because you've made your mind thoughtless, okay? And so, hate to say it, but it will make you stupid in the future, okay? So please don't do that meditation. Okay, so we have the motivation, why we're meditating. Then we have the meditation itself, focusing on virtue. At the beginning, you'd just be focusing on the breath. And then we have the dedication at the end. Dedication is super important. So what you're doing is dedicating your meditation, the action, the act of meditating that you've just completed. You're going to dedicate that to benefit others. Okay? Now again, it can include yourself. Like I said, if I want to benefit people with fibromyalgia, then I can dedicate the merit I have gained from doing the meditation to benefit everyone with fibromyalgia. That would include myself, but I'm not doing it just solely for me. If you dedicate something just for yourself, you're not. It's a total waste of time. You're not actually dedicating anything. Okay, so you want to dedicate for others. Now the reason we want to do this is it protects the virtuous action we've just done. Meditating when we're focusing on virtue, is a virtuous action. We're making our mind familiar with virtue to benefit us and others in the future. Okay, so you don't want to lose that. So you need to dedicate. So anytime you're doing any virtuous action, dedicate, okay? Because one moment of anger and you can destroy all of the positive spiritual actions, all the positive actions you've done, gone. Okay? So you want to dedicate. And so that's what we do at the end of the meditation, is to make sure that we're dedicating that merit to protect it, to keep it from being destroyed. Okay, so those are the steps, the things you have to do to have a successful meditation. But seriously, every time you've noticed, oh, my mind has wandered, and you bring it back, that means you have had a successful meditation. You don't have to sit and meditate with perfect concentration the whole entire time. Okay, eventually, hopefully, we'll get there. But just right, I gotta refocus my mind. That means you're successful. So you can do this. Everybody hopefully can do this. All right. So I hope this video has been helpful, and thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate you taking the time. Thanks.